Hey guys, how you guys doing? I'm beginning to become worried about the Obi Wan Kenobi series and the Ahsoka series. Now, why is this the case? Well, both shows currently share the same concern that I have, and that is the over-reliance on fan service. First and foremost, I do trust the people behind the camera. Deborah Chow is mostly in charge of Obi-Wan, and I have the utmost confidence in her. I'm assuming the team behind The Mandalorian will also be in charge of Ahsoka, which I mostly trust. But as the Book of Boba Fett taught me, people who you trust greatly can still surprise you and put out crap. The Book of Boba Fett is, without exaggeration, my least favorite live-action Star Wars story. Well, I guess besides the holiday special. But anyway, what caused my recent concern for both shows? People involved with the production of both Obi Wan Kenobi and Ahsoka had interesting things to say recently. First, I'll talk about Obi-Wan and then I'll move on to Ahsoka. Rupert Friend, aka the actor of the Grand Inquisitor, had this to say about the upcoming series. If it's possible to be any more excited than folks already are, I would be. I think the series is one of the most thrilling additions to the Star Wars canon. I think Ewan McGregor is doing things with that role that is a dream for fans of the original films. You know, we can't obviously have Alec Guinness back, but I just think Ewan was absolutely born to play that part. And wonderful cameos from people I obviously can't tell you, but Easter eggs galore. Yeah, it's a thrilling ride. The lines "wonderful cameo" and "Easter eggs galore" make me really nervous. Obi-Wan to me should always have been a character-focused series. I want this series to be about Obi-Wan and his struggles. Now, of course, familiar characters are allowed to show up, but when I hear Easter eggs galore, I start to panic. Also, using the adjective wonderful next to cameos just sits wrong with me. This is a time period where Obi-Wan is in hiding. He shouldn't be seeing a lot of people, but this quote suggests otherwise. We already know that he'll meet up with Vader and fight him again. I've made peace with that. But who else are we going to see that haven't already been confirmed for the show? I'll give you guys a list of characters I wouldn't mind seeing and some characters I would definitely mind seeing. First, I would love to see Qui Gon. If Obi-Wan is going to learn how to become a Force ghost, well, he needs someone to learn from, and that person is Qui Gon. At the end of Revenge of the Sith, Yoda did mention to Obi-Wan about becoming a Force ghost and that he needs more training, so what better than continue that storyline in this series? Also, this version of Obi-Wan is someone who I want to see struggling, someone who is frustrated and doesn't have all the answers. Qui-Gon is someone who could mentor him during this time, and I would love that. Another character I wouldn't mind seeing is Bail Organa. At the end of Revenge of the Sith, only Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Bail know about Anakin having children. So if Obi-Wan is going to leave the planet and needs to talk to someone he trusts, it makes perfect sense for him to seek out Bail. Also, Jimmy Smits did return for Rogue One, so I could realistically totally see him returning for this. The last character I wouldn't mind seeing is the Emperor. Now, obviously, the Emperor won't be seeing Obi-Wan, but if this series is also partially going to be about Anakin, I expect him to have some important conversations with Palpatine. When it comes to Qui-Gon and Bail, those are characters that I would actually like to see. With Palpatine, it could go without him, but I wouldn't mind seeing him. Let's move on to characters I wouldn't like to see. The first one would be Ahsoka. Now, if she shows up in a flashback during the Clone Wars, then I would love that. But in terms of seeing Ahsoka in the present, that would bother me. Obi-Wan should really trust basically no one. And at this point, neither know each other is even alive, so it would feel too contrived if they met each other in this series. Another character I don't want to see is Commander Cody. Obi-Wan should be focused on his inner turmoil and his relationship to Vader. I don't need to see Obi-Wan have to confront Cody. Also, at this point, the clones should be pretty much phased out, so that would be a minor contradiction in the lore. This is a bit of a broad answer, but I don't want to see any other surviving Jedi. Like, I don't need to see Cal Kestis show up or Kanan Jarrus show up, and God forbid Mace Windu's alive and shows up. There should be barely any Jedi in the galaxy, so the less I see, the better. Now, if any one of these characters show up, I wouldn't be triggered, just mildly upset, but I swear if Grogu somehow shows up in this series, I will actually be angry. It's bad enough Grogu had to hijack the Book of Boba Fett, but him hijacking the Obi-Wan series would be leagues worse. If Grogu shows up in this series, that means Disney does not have any faith in any of their series going forward if they don't somehow show Grogu. Imagine the message they would be sending. They don't think Obi-Wan could carry his own series, that they would need Grogu. That would be devastating. But overall, those are my thoughts and worries about the cameos and Easter eggs in the Kenobi series. This show should be a contained, character-focused story. Wonderful cameos and Easter eggs galore could ruin that. But moving on, let's talk about the recent news from the Ahsoka series. Bryce Dallas Howard recently came out and said this: "Without giving anything away, you're going to love the Ahsoka show that's coming up," Howard hinted. "I cannot tell you anything, but what I can say is that you being a fan of the Clone Wars will be greatly rewarded." Now, I'm not sure what's more concerning, this or the Obi-Wan news. The problem I have with this quote is that chronologically chronologically, this series is so far removed from the Clone Wars. In terms of prominent characters from the Clone Wars, who's there that's even still alive? There's Ahsoka and Rex, and I believe that's it. So in reality, I don't know what she could possibly be referring to when it comes to making Clone Wars fans happy. Maybe they could have Barriss alive? I don't know. I guess they could have tons of flashbacks in the series to the Clone Wars, but I'm not sure if I want to see that. Maybe Bryce Dallas Howard just doesn't know the difference, but this series should make the fans of Rebels very excited. For one, it's basically confirmed that Thrawn will be the main villain of this series. Also, it's heavily rumored that the series will also be about the search for Ezra, wherever he is. I think it will be harder for me to get upset if Rebels characters show up because it kind of makes sense that they would show up, especially if the plot is about finding Ezra. And there was that confirmed casting of Sabine a few weeks back. With the Clone Wars characters, it was so long before I am worried that if we do see a bunch of Clone Wars characters, it would be forced. But I guess I'm less worried about the Ahsoka quote than I am about the Kenobi quote. But we'll have to wait to see what happens. Are any of you guys worried about either show because of these quotes, or is it just me? Let me know down below. Thank you everyone so much for watching another one of my videos. Don't forget to unite the Claude Squad, and I will see you guys next time.